So I can start. Good afternoon, students. Um, we are on communication in English, GST111. Topics today is part of speech. Part of speech. You know that in our last lecture, we discussed the sound system of English. And we explained everything about the sound system of English, including the segmental phonology and the non-segmental phonology, where we discuss in the segmental phonology, where we discuss the vowels and the consonants, and in non-segmental phonology, we discuss the stress, the intonation, among others. For today, we are going to discuss part of speech. Remember, the core objective of this course is on skills. On skills, how you can use, be equipped in English. You know, in Nigeria today, you cannot communicate effectively beyond without a good use of English, and that is why English becomes very important. And part of speech is originally what we use in writing. So today's topic is about part of speech. The learning objectives. At the end of the topic, students should be able to, one, define parts of speech. You need to define what is the term parts of speech. What do we mean by part of speech? Remember that the word part of speech is from the classical grammarian, they call it part of speech. But you may be hearing word classes. What it means is that structural grammarian call it word classes. So there is no difference between parts of speech and word classes in case. So you need to define what is part of speech or what is word classes. 2, list the part of speech. You will need to list the part of speech you know. How many part of speech are there in English? And what make each part of speech different from the other? Very, very important. When you list them, you will begin to understand why they are different. That leads us to learning objective 3. Differentiate between major parts of speech and minor part of speech. You know, even within part of speech, we have difference. There are key major differences between the part of speech. And we have defined it or differentiated it to be major and minor. There are some that are major, while others are minor. What makes them major and what makes them minor? You will know it soon. Then the fourth one is classified part of speech. Classified part of speech. You know, it is very, very important. Number 4 and number 5. Identify each part of speech in a sentence. You need to, in number 4, classify the part of speech. How many types of, within a particular part of speech, what and what that makes it, what are the types of, for instance, if we are talking about nouns, what are the types of nouns? Why are they different? What are the types of verbs? Why are they different? What are the types of adjectives? Why are they different? That is classifications. And number 5, identify each part of speech in the sentence. This very one, take note of it, because even in exam, it does come. At the end of this class, you will need to identify each of the part of speech in a sentence. A sentence will be given to you, and it is your duty to identify it and say, this one is a noun, this one is a verb, this very one is an adjective, this very one is an adverb, this one is pronoun, this one is preposition, among others. And before you would identify each one in a sentence, it means that you must have known that particular part of speech. And that is why this topic becomes very, very important. Part of speech, the definition now. Part of speech can be defined as any of the classes into which words have been divided traditionally on the basis of their meaning, form, or syntactic functions. So what we mean here is that all the words in English are being divided into what we call part of speech, into different parts, in such that we cannot group any word we come across and say, this belongs to this belongs to this word belongs to nouns, this group of words belongs to verb, this one belongs to adjectives. Because at the end, we have noticed that they are almost performing the same functions. They form themselves in the same category. And again, they have the same function. Look at meaning, form, or syntactic function. Noun may have the same meaning. Verb may be performing action words. Adjective may be performing modification, modifying nouns. Adverb may be performing modifying verb, adjective, and other adverb, among others. Then, in terms of syntactic functions, it is within a sentence. How will you know that this is a noun, this is a verb? Traditionally, noun has its own syntactic function. Verb has its own syntactic functions. Conjunction has, pronoun has, every part of speech has its own syntactic function. So it is in this that we come to the definition that part of speech can be defined as any of the classes. So class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, into which words have been divided. So we divide the words based on their traditional form, meaning, or functions. You can browse and know better definition about what part of speech is, but the simple definition is that it is how we divide the word, thousands and many words in English, into different groups, such as noun, verb, adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, determinants, among others. It is through the help of part of speech that we know the function of each word in the sentence. Yes, before you know the function of each word, you must have known the part of speech the word belongs to. Because each of the part of speech perform the same function. Noun perform the same function. When we begin to come to noun, we begin to let you know that noun can function as subject of the verb, object of the verb, among others. So any word traditionally known as noun can still function as subject of the verb, object of the verb, subject of the complement, object of the complement, among many others. Verb, action words, even though not all the verb that perform action, but majorly verb action. So when we see the action, we see the verb. So any word that perform actions usually is classified in this group of verb. Then in adjective, modification of noun. The purpose is giving additional meaning to noun. So any word we see that is giving additional meaning to noun, we group such a word to be an adjective. And that is why this second explanation is very nice. It is through the help of part of speech that we know the function of each word in it. So remember that in exam, a particular word or a phrase or a clause, but let me talk about word. A particular word may be underlined and ask you what is the function of the following underlined words. So it is through the help of the part of speech. If you know that part of speech that is being underlined in the sentence, you will not know the function of it in the sentence. Next, there are 8 parts of speech in present day English: nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and determinants. But remember that some authority included interjection. Yeah, some authority included interjection as part of speech. But for us, we believe that, like Onibo 1996 claims, that interjection has no grammatical function, or all interjections have no grammatical functions. What we mean by grammatical function is that there is a noun anywhere that is known as noun. There is a function is performing. Verb, the same thing. Even pronoun used to replace noun. But what is the function of interjection? Because some interjection may be performing the same role as adverb. When you said, "Oh," a kind of a surprise. What a wonderful day. And he said, "Oh," is interjection, but it occupies the position of an adverb. So some grammarians, after looking at it critically, they said interjection has no role or core grammatical function to play, and as such, it was removed. So for us, we also remove interjection away, and our focus will be on nouns, verb, adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, and determinants. Note also that some authorities have merged adjectives and determinants together. Yes, even as you are now, if I ask you to differentiate between adjective and adverb, you will hardly differentiate it. In some books, you hardly differentiate between determinants and adjectives. But for the purpose of this course, we will differentiate it. For instance, in the following sentence, the beautiful girl is here. Now, I underline the beautiful girl. I underline it. What is the function of the? What is the function of the? What is the function of beautiful? What is the function of girl? Let us start from girl. The girl is the noun. Now, the and beautiful are modifying the noun. So what it means is that determinant and adjective play almost the same function. They modified noun. They give additional meaning to the noun. They precede noun. Take note of that. But there are several differences between determinants and adjectives according to structural grammarians, which you are coming to know. Number one is that adjectives can be derived, determinants cannot be derived. So in the word, the beautiful girl, or in the phrase, the beautiful girl, the is determinant, not an adjective. The beautiful is an adjective, not determinant. Because we can derive another word from beautiful. Beautiful, beautifully. Beautiful is adjective. Beautifully is adverb. And that beautiful is derived from a noun, beauty. So, adjective can be derived. We can form other words from adjectives. We can form adjective from other words. But in determiner cannot be derived. So, we cannot derive or we cannot add inflection to or an affix to No, it remains like that. It's limited. So that is the major difference. As we progress, you will know other differences between adjective and determinants. Next, a particular word may function as more than one part of speech when used in various sentences. Again, even though we may claim that a particular word has its own role to play or its position in the sentence. For instance, if we say the girl is good, and we now say, okay, the girl here is occupying the position of a noun, and because it has occupied the position of a noun, is the subject of the verb. The girl, subject of the verb, is the verb, auxiliary verb or primary auxiliary verb is good, adjective. Another part of speech that may be a verb can still occupy the position of a noun, which is the subject. Traditionally, nouns occupy the subject position, the first position, the subject position, the object position, noun will occupy it. But another word class can still occupy the position of a noun. Another word class can still occupy the position of a verb. Another word class can still be used as an adjective. They are words that we know that they are adjective, but we can still use another word as an adjective in as much as it is modifying a noun. The same applicable to an adverb. So what it means is that particularly in major part of speech, any word can occupy it. Any part of speech can occupy another part of speech, and it will perform as such. But our function here, or our interest here, is to know each of the part of speech very well, and then now begin to know how another part of speech can function in another part of speech. We call it functionalship. Functionalship. Look at the classification of part of speech. You can see major part of speech and the minor part of speech. So within the major part of speech, we have the noun, we have the verb, we have the adjective, we have the adverb. Within the minor, we have pronoun, preposition, conjunction, and determiner. Now, why do we call the major part of speech? Why do we call the minor part of speech? Why do we classify them? Why do we separate them? The reason is that the one we classify as major part of speech, one, they are not limited in number. What it means is that every day we can coin nouns, verbs, adjective, adverb, we can coin more words from them. Remember that even the word computer that we are hearing to do, in the last 100 years, there is nothing like computer. We are not hearing it. But today, the word has been coined into the part of speech of noun. So these very classes, known as major part of speech, can create words daily. Every day we can create words. But this other one, minor part of speech, if they are limited, the one created already in the past 200 or 500 or 1 million years still remain what they are. We do not add any pronoun to the existing pronouns. Neither do we do that to preposition, conjunction, or determinants. That is number one difference. Number two, what we classified as major part of speech, we can add inflection or emphasis to major part of speech, but we cannot do that to minor part of speech. What we mean by emphasis are bound morphemes that are added to the base form of the word. So if the base form of the word, for instance, a verb, girl is the base form of the word, we can add an affix, goes, thereby adding ax to the go to form singularity. Yes. Walk is the base form of verb. We can add x to walk to make it what? Singularity. Walks. We can add ing to make it walking. We can add ed to work it to make it walked. So verb can accept inflection. Verb can accept emphasis. The same applicable to noun, to adjective, to adverb. But this other one, this second one, we cannot add affixes to them. It is wrong to say, for instance, ways. You not add s to no, it's not. That is another difference. That is why we call them major and minor. And another one is, there are so many of them. Look at the difference, the major difference here and minor. Look at the difference between them. I think we said they are limited in number. The major one, they are not limited in number. The minor, they are limited in number. The major ones are very many, provided that you can create, you can invent. There are very many. This one, they are not. We have already explained number 3. They can accept inflection, which is something I said. Number 1, they are also called open or content word. Yeah, they are open. More members can come in. This one, they are closed. They can't expand. Yeah. They will call them form because they only function, they only have meaning when they are used in the sentence. When they're standing alone, we don't know more meaning from them. But the major part of speech, even when they're standing alone, we get meaning from them. While this other one, they only function, they have meaning when they are in sentence. That is where we need to know their meaning. And number 2, we say they are open or can create new members every day. I've explained it. The minor part of speech, they cannot. And number 5, we said they have independent meaning when they stand alone. I've said it earlier. When they stand alone, they have meaning. John, we know. When you say John, you know you are calling on a human being, somebody's names. And they can just turn. Anybody who is asking John can easily know that you are referring to him. Because there's a meaning. Or when you say come, somebody can easily understand the fact that you have asked him to come. But this other one, standing alone, if we always find it difficult, for instance, under, we will only know what is under. The book is under the table. It is only when it is in sentence that under begin to have meaning, telling us where the major part of speech is. Now we begin with nouns. What is a noun, or what are nouns? You know, this thing in our primary school, secondary school, we have taught them and used them to dance. Our interest here is explaining it to you, and at the end, you should be able to identify them in the sentence. Because even in exam, we will not be asking you what is a noun. No, we can't do that. What we will do is we give out a sentence and ask you to identify it. So, number 1 definition, you can say noun is naming part of a sentence. So, in a sentence, any word that has a name is a noun. Any word that has a name, any object that has a name, anything that is being known for, you just know it by that name, is a noun. There is a name attached to something. That name that is attached to something is a noun. Take note of that. Any object that has a name, that name that is given to that object makes it a noun. Number 2, a name of a person, thing, animal, place, state, idea, activity, or quantity. Whatever thing that has a name, that is what it means. Even the animal that has a name, whatever name you give it, that you know it. For instance, pig. Pig, the word pig is a name of an animal, and it is a noun. The word animal is a name given to some creature, so it's a noun. Boy is a noun, is a name given to some masculine gender. Gear is a noun. Man is a noun. Uche is a noun. Michael is a noun. Okam is a noun. These are names. Known, which we use to know a particular object or quantity or a place or nature, is a noun. Once there is a name and we know it by that name, it's a noun. I hope you are following. Okay, let us look at the number 3. A word that appears sentence initially, subject, medially, or finally object. Now, in terms of position of occurrence, nouns occupies the sentence initially. Now, when we begin to divide sentence into two, if we divide sentence into two, we'll look at the subject and the predicate. So what occupies the position of the subject? The head of the subject is the noun. That is why nouns occupy sentence initially. Within that environment, nouns usually occupy it. Even though there may be other word class modifying the noun, the most important thing is that noun would always occupy sentence initially. We have some other noun that occur at the end. The boy killed the goat. Goat here is a noun which also occurred finally, which we call as what? Object. Why the one that occupy the sentence initially is subject. Within noun, we have types of nouns. Types of noun. Remember, we said classified noun, classified part of speech. So you need to know different types of part of speech, so that you need to tell us this is a particular part of speech, and this is what makes this different. In the noun, they are classified into two major parts. So nouns are classified into two major parts: proper nouns and collective nouns. You need to know what is a proper noun and what is a collective noun. Look at the different. Say proper nouns are now given to specific people, places, days of the week, month of the year, holidays, period, countries, languages, etc. While common nouns are general names of persons, place, or things. The only difference between proper nouns and common nouns is that specific, given to one person, given to one place, given to one day, specific one, given to one month, the name given to one particular month, the name given to one particular holiday, the name given to one particular country, the name given to one particular language, proper one. But in common noun, the name in which group of people, group of places or things are known for. In terms of proper noun, specific people, Uche, one person, Uche, John, Okafor, Emeka, Ada. So that is just that. In terms of a place, Onitsha, the word Onitsha is a proper noun. A name given to one particular place. The names of your villages, different villages, each particular place, the name given to it is a proper noun. Day of the week, the word Monday is a proper noun. The name given to one particular day in the week is a proper noun. Tuesday, the same thing. Wednesday, the same thing. Languages, Igbo is a proper noun. Hausa, for any language that has a name, one particular language with one name is a proper noun. Country, the same thing. Nigeria is one. So the word Nigeria is a proper noun. The same is applicable to Canada, USA, Canada. So you can see a table that I have drawn to differentiate it. Look at common noun. The word people is a common noun because it's a word used to know a group of general. This is what we need to identify some section. The people are coming. Here, you are not talking about one person. But when you want to make the word people to be proper, Okon is coming. Ada is coming. Esther is coming. James is coming. Just take note of that. The same applicable to country, to river, to week, month, religion, languages, and places. Features of common nouns and proper nouns. What are the differences between them? Number one, the first letter of a proper noun must be capitalized anywhere it occurs. Anywhere a proper noun occurs, it must be capitalized. It must be capitalized. Anywhere you see it, you write the first letter in capital letter. It is wrong for you to write Uche. I am talking to Uche. I am talking to Uche. And the word Uche, you start writing it with a small letter. It's wrong. Because the word Uche is a specific name of a person. And it is a proper noun. And it must be written in a capital letter. The first letter must start with the capital letter. So whenever you write these proper nouns, anywhere you write them, even the word Nigeria, if you start writing Nigeria with a small letter, it's wrong. If you start writing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with a small letter, it's wrong. But you can write the word month, month, or week, weekx. The general name of this, of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The general name of it is what? Week. You can write week in any place with a small letter, unless it begins a sentence. But the specific name of the weeks, which are proper nouns, can never be written with a small letter. Any place you want to write them, you write them using capital letters. The first letter must be written in capital letters. So that is different. Why common noun? The first letter of common noun is not written in a capital letter unless it begins what? A sentence. Number two, proper nouns cannot be introduced with a determiner. So remember I told you the difference between determiner and adjective, where such as the, a, and etc. are determiners. So it is wrong for you to say the John, the Ukam, or the Onitsha, or the Nigeria. No. Nigeria is my country, not the Nigeria is my country. It's wrong because Nigeria, the word Nigeria is a proper noun. They accept determiners. That is common noun, accept determiners. So the word country, since I cannot say the Nigeria is where I come from. The Nigeria is where I come from. It's wrong because you cannot introduce Nigeria, a proper noun with a determiner. You can say the country is where I come from. The country is where I come from. Country is a general name for where we can have specific name such as Nigeria, USA, Ghana, and others. So that general name can be written or introduced with a determiner. Now we now say a glass of water. Glass is a common noun. And it will be introduced with what? A determiner. But you cannot introduce determiner in proper nouns. Another one is they cannot be pluralized. You don't pluralize, you cannot say Nigerians. But you can pluralize common noun. Go and do more about it. There's no time, do more about it. Then we cannot further Should be done. Should be done by 1:45. Okay. Before the break in transmission, we are just discussing about the other types of common nouns. So you have to read more. Collective nouns. These are nouns regarded as unit, family. The theme in this very one, when we want to use verb with them, we can either use singular verb or plural verb. It depends on your notion. When we begin to discuss concord, I think we have already discussed concord with Dr. Edika. You hear or you see notional concord. It is all about collective nouns. Either you use singular or you use singular verb or plural verb. You can say, my family is here or my family are here. But it depends on your notion. If you regard them as one, you can say, my family is here. If you regard them as individually, you can say, my family are here. So you are talking about each individually. That is collective nouns. Abstract nouns are the nouns that we cannot see. But they are nouns. They are regarded as nouns. They are names given to the sacrifice is a name given to an object we cannot see. And it is a noun. Concrete nouns are the ones that we can see, such as this laptop and touch. Some of these things we have known them. What our general concern is how you can identify this in the sentence. When the sentence is given to you, how will you identify it and group and classify them as noun? Uncountable nouns, etc. Regular nouns are the one that the singular and plural are predicted. While irregular nouns are the one that they cannot be predicted. You can see boy, boys, man, men, sheep, sheep, singular, sheep, plural. Why regular is the one that you can just use X at X or EX or IEX and we know it's plural. Features of noun. Noun function as the subject of the verb. So like I told you, what usually occupies the verb position is a noun. Unless there is a determiner before the noun or adjective before the noun. But usually, what we regard as the subject is the noun. So the word Olu is a student. The word Olu is a name, a specific name of a person, and it's a noun. And the function of it is what? Subject of the verb. So in exam, we can give you a sentence like this and say, Olu is a student. What is the function of Olu in the sentence? And you can simply say Olu is the subject of the verb. Some will say subject of the sentence. Is the subject in the sentence. Is the subject of the verb. Why we say subject of the verb is that now the subject and the verb are the obligatory elements. So hardly could you construct an acceptable sentence without this verb or without the subject. That is why sometimes we say it is subject of the verb. But originally we can just say subject of the sentence. It's just the same thing because you occupy the first position. 2, the function as the direct object of transitive verb. Yeah, a transitive verb is a verb that accepts object. There are some verbs that do not accept object. So a noun can still function as, let's just say, object of the sentence. We can just remove transitive verb. But what will make us to understand that that word is an object is there must be a transitive verb. There must be a verb that always accepts a noun after it. And the noun is called object. Because there are some verbs that will accept a noun. A noun will place after it, but the noun cannot function as the subject. Sometimes the noun will be functioning as complement. And that is why you say they function as the direct object of transitive verb. So the underlying word car Here, she bought a car. The word car, which is a noun, is object of the transitive verb or object of the sentence. It is object of the transitive verb because it coming after a verb that accepts an object. She bought and you stop. She bought, you stop. The sentence is fragment. It's not correct. It must accept something which is an object. It's different from she is a girl. She is a girl. She is a girl. The word girl, though, is a noun, but it's not functioning as an object. It's functioning as a complement of she. It's referring to she. They function as direct object of the transitive verb. In this sentence, we elected Jerry, the captain. You will notice that we have two objects in the sentence. Jerry, captain. Jerry, captain. So which one is the indirect object? It functions as indirect object. So when you see two objects coming after the verb, the first object is indirect object. The last one is direct object. But when there are no two objects, then it means that we are dealing with direct object. So in this case, we elected Jerry the captain. We elected Jerry the captain. So Jerry is indirect object, and noun can function as indirect object. Just as it can function as direct object, this direct object, captain, now will also function as indirect object. They function as the object of the preposition. Any noun that comes after a preposition and after a verb, it comes after a verb, because noun that comes after a verb are traditionally known as objects, especially transitive verb. Take note of transitive verb, not all the verbs, because we have linking verbs that when noun comes after linking verb, the noun is not object, it's complement. But when the noun is introduced, is placed before a preposition, a preposition is placed before the noun, that noun is object of the preposition. In this sentence, John bought a car for John. It's different from we elected Jerry the captain. The captain here is direct object. It functions as the direct object because there is no preposition placed before the captain. But in this case, we have two objects after the verb. The car and Philip. But the first object is introduced by a determiner, is placed before a determiner. A determiner is placed before it. The second one, a preposition is placed before it, which is Philip. So whenever a preposition is placed before a noun, the noun functions as the object of the preposition, especially when it comes after a verb. Take note of that. Noun function as the object complement of the linking verb. Subject complement of the linking verb. Remember, look at the sentence. Ada is a nurse. A nurse comes after a verb, but that verb is not a transitive verb. It is a linking verb. And we cannot say a nurse or nurse is object. It is not object. It is not function as object. An object is a noun that comes after a transitive verb. So any noun that comes after a linking verb cannot be classified as an object. It can be classified as what? A complement. Because that verb is linking the two nouns together. In order to test if we are correct, Ada is a nurse. Who is a nurse? Ada. And Ada is the subject of the sentence. That is why a nurse is functioning as the subject complement of the linking verb. The next is they also function as the object complement in the sentence. Object complement in the sentence. This sentence, we elected Jerry, the captain. Jerry, the captain is object. Jerry is object. We said it earlier when we are trying to explain indirect object, that we say Jerry is an indirect object. Now we are explaining the captain. And the captain here is object complement because it's referring to the object, to the indirect object in the sentence. It is referring to the indirect object of the sentence, so it becomes object complement. It is referring to Jerry, it's referring back to Jerry. We elected Jerry the captain. Who is the captain? Jerry. So these are the functions of nouns. Read more and you will see it. Because in a sentence, we will underline a noun and ask what is the function of the following noun? Verbs. If you have any question you can send to me, I would address it. Because we need to be done with the major part of speech today. Another day is minor part of speech. Verb is just an action word. Without verbs, a good sentence will not be constructed. Even though we say that the subject, that is noun and verb, are obligatory, verbs are more obligatory than noun. 2, verb expresses what the subject does in a sentence. It is the verb that will tell us the particular role played by the subject. Verb also expresses what happened to the object in the sentence. If we said the boy kissed the rat, it is the verb that tells us what suffered it, what is suffering it, which is the rat is the object. It is the verb that is telling us what the object is. Verb are action words. They give action, but not all the verbs. Not all the verb are action. Some are just not action. Some are linking. But what is important is that the present of the verb is very nice. Verb occurs after noun or auxiliary verb. So before you say verb, there is always a noun. Or some verbs will always occur after auxiliary verb. Now, John is here. John is noun. Is verb. Here is adverb. So John, verb always come after noun. Verb can still come after auxiliary. John is coming here. John is coming here. John, noun, is auxiliary, coming, verb, here, adverb. Classification of verb. We can classify verb into 2. Non-finite verbs and finite verbs. Non-finite verb and finite. Why do we call them non-finite? Why do we call them finite? Now, non-finite. These are verbs that function as other part of speech in the sentence. Originally, they are verb. Morphologically, they are verb. In terms of structure, they are verbs. In terms of appearance, they are verbs. But when they are used in a sentence, they are not functioning as verb. They are not occupying the position of a verb. They are occupying the position of other part of speech. And as such, they functions as those part of speech. Remember, I earlier mentioned functional shifts, that a particular part of speech can still function as another part of speech, in as much as it occupied the position of that part of speech. And in verb, those ones we call non-finite, they are verb, but they function as other part of speech. Another name we can call them is verbal. Verbal. Structure name we call them is verbal. Functional shift. Then for verb, we call them verbal. For noun, we call them nominal. For adjective, we call them adjectival. For adverb, we call them adverbials. These are other part of speech. These are other part of speech that perform the function of that part of speech. So nominals are other part of speech that are functioning as a noun. Verbal or non-finite verb are other parts of speech that functions as verb. Non-finite verb are other part of verb that function as another part of speech. Adjective are other part of speech that function as adverb or adjective. Adverbial, other part of speech that function as adverb. But in the case of this non-finite verb, are verb that function as another part of speech. While verbal are other part of speech that function as verb. Take note of that. So non-finite verb are verbs that morphologically they are verb, structurally they are verb, but in terms of their function, in terms of the position of occurrence in the sentence, they function as other part of speech. So we have them about three: infinitives, participle, gerund. Infinitives are two infinitives. We have them. Infinitives are verbs that are introduced by to and function as noun, adjective, or adverb. But we also have another type of infinitive. We call them bare infinitives. They are not introduced by to, but that one is somehow difficult. Let us just talk about the one that is introduced by to. Now, the word drink is a verb. The word eat is a verb. Excuse me, I'm coming. The word drink is a verb. Eat is a verb. Check is a verb. But in the sentence, you see, they are introduced by to, to. And in the sentence again, there are main verb in the sentence. The first one is the main verb. The second one, give him rice to eat. Give is the main verb. The other one, the student came to check for the lecturer. Came is the main verb. But this other verb, to drink, although drink is a verb introduced by to, and is occupying the position of a noun, it becomes the subject of the sentence. As such, even though it's a verb, it is functioning as a noun. So that's why we call the non-finite verb, verb that functions as other part of speech. It is occupying the position of a noun and is functioning as a noun. So to drink is not a verb. In this context, it is a noun. Give him rice to eat. To eat what? Rice. To eat. Eat is a verb. But the word to eat is functioning as an adjective, modifying what? Rice. The student came to check for the lecturer. The original verb there is came. To check, what is the function of to check? To check is not functioning as a verb, although the word check is a verb, but introduced by to, it is not longer functioning as a verb. It is functioning as what? Adverb. You can do more exercises about this if you are not getting it. Then participle are verbs, whether we call them past participle or progressive participle, that function as adjectives. Verb that are used to function as adjectives. Past participle are verbs, ed2. We have ed1, we have ed2. Past tense verb are called ed1. Past participle are called ed2. So the ed2 are the one used to function as adjectives. So look at now, the word bottle is the noun, and originally adjective modifies noun. Any word that gives additional meaning to noun is adjective or determinants. Now, a verb, a word that is a verb, ed2, past participle word that is a verb, broken, is a verb, but in this sentence it is used as an adjective. Let me use it as a verb. I have broken the pot. I have broken the bottle. The word broken is a verb. But in this sentence, the broken bottle has wounded him. Broken. Noun function as an adjective, not as a verb. That is why we call it non-finite verb. Another one is we should let the sleeping dog lies. I am sleeping. Sleeping is a verb, ing form of a verb, progressive form of a verb. But in this context, sleeping is modifying dog. As such, it is functioning as an adjective, functionalship. Then the next one is gerund, ing verb that function as noun in the sentence. Singing. Originally, we know the word singing is a verb. So any ing verb that is functioning as a noun, not as an adjective, it is not modifying another word class. Sleeping is modifying another word class. That's why it functions as an adjective. But singing is not modifying, so it's occupying the place of a noun. Singing is her hobby. Okay, we can just also say eating is her hobby. Seeing is believing. So this one here occupying the space of a noun, used as a noun, even though they are verb. Finite verb. These ones are verb that morphologically they are verb. They are used as verb. They are not functioning as other part of speech. And within the finite verb, we have finite verb further sub-classifying to transitive and non-transitive verb. Like I said earlier, transitive verb are verb that can take object. Naker broke the pot. The verb broke, take object, pot. Intransitive verb do not accept object. Bird flies. Bird flies. So it is ungrammatical to say bird flies the pot or bird flies the heaven. No. If anything that will comes after intransitive verb will be adverbial. Verb, bird flies every day. Birds fly every day. That every day is an adverb. Anything that comes, but not object. So transitive verb, accept object. So it's wrong to say naked broke. Broke what? There must be an object. There must be a noun that will come after it. The pot. Lexical versus auxiliary. Lexical verbs are verbs that originally they are not supporting any other verb. They do not depend on any other. They are what they are. Why auxiliary verb are verbs that support the main verb. In this sentence, Mary and John drink together. Drink is not supporting any verb. It is the base form of the verb. It's not used to support any verb. Why auxiliary verb are verbs that depend on other verb to make meaning. So she is cooking. Cooking is the main verb. The word is auxiliary verb. Is supporting the main verb. Obina will come tomorrow. Will is auxiliary verb. Is supporting the main verb. So what we say supporting? If we say she, she is, she is. The sentence is not complete. It needs to support, even though we have primary auxiliary verb that the primary auxiliary mother auxiliary that there are some verb auxiliary verb that can function as main verb and as auxiliary verb. But in a context in which they will support the main verb, if they don't use it as supporting the main verb, it will not stand alone. The mother auxiliary verb, that one, traditionally they will always, whenever you see them, they will always support the main verb. Obina will come tomorrow. Obina will tomorrow. Obina will tomorrow, not correct. Once you see them, you see the main verb. Now note that primary auxiliary verb, be verb, do verb, have verb, may or may not depend on the main verb in the sentence. So they may be primary, they may stand alone, they may support. There are students. The word are is not supporting any verb. While they have come to school, have is supporting can. So Verbs such as be verb, there are about 8 lessons of be verb. 8 lessons of be verb. Go and check it. We have be itself, is, are, where, etc. There are about 8. Been, and others. Do verb, there are about 5 lessons of do verb. Have verb, there are about 3 lessons of have verbs. These ones here can be used as primary. They can stand alone in some sentences. They can not stand alone in some other. We shall see be done. Adjectives. Originally, adjectives are used to modify nouns. Anywhere you see adjective, you see nouns. So read everything about adjective you know. Like in the sentence, she is in the dark room. You can simply say she is in the room, but the word dark has redefined the room to further tell us how the room is. Owen is a man. Owen is a man. But if you want to know more about the man, we can use adjective to say Owen is a poor, innocent young man. So the word poor, innocent, and young are adjectives used to modify what? The noun. So by definition, we say adjective modified or give additional meaning to a noun. It extends the meaning of a noun. It has nothing to do with any other part of speech. Adjective does not modify any other part of speech except noun. When there is no noun, there is no adjectives. Adjectives will have nothing to say about. They come nearer to the noun they modify than all other elements that modify such noun. So if there is adjective and determiner used to modify noun, adjective and the determiner used to modify noun, the adjective will come nearer to the noun than the determiner. For instance, in the sentence, she is in the dark room. The word D is determiner. D is determiner. So it is wrong for us to say she is in dark the room. She is in dark the room. Adjective will always come closer to the noun than any other word. D is modifying the room. Dark is modifying the room. D is a determiner. Dark is an adjective. And therefore, adjective will come closer to the noun than the determiner. The same applicable to here. When is a poor, it will belong to say when is poor, innocent, young, a man. Because A is a determiner, an adjective will come closer to the noun than any other one. Position of adjectives. Where are the position adjective occur? Some adjective can come before the noun. They are called attributive or pre-modifying adjectives. Some can come after the noun but before the verb in the sentence. They are called post-modifying adjectives. Some can come after the noun, after the verb. They are called predicative adjectives. In fact, they are part of the predicate. Let me repeat. In terms of position, some adjective can come immediately before the noun. Example, poor, innocent young man. All are pre-modifying adjectives. They come immediately before the noun they modify. That is pre-modifying, come immediately before the noun they modify. If you don't call it attributive, you can call it pre-modifying, pre before, place before. Some are post-modifying. They come immediately after the noun they modify. The noun they modify come before them. They come after the noun, but before the verb. While predicative come after the noun, come after the verb, form part of the predicate, but they are still referring to the noun in the subject position. What I've explained so far, look at attributive or pre-modified adjective. They come before the noun they modify. The White House has been destroyed. The word white modified house. So it's pre-modifying adjective or attributive adjective. In post-modifying adjective, they come immediately after the noun they modify, but before the verb in the sentence. I said it earlier. The president-elect. President is the noun, elect modifies. But before the verb has in the sentence, president-elect has resumed office. It does not come after the verb, but it comes after the noun it modified. Take note of that. Then in predicative adjectives, they come after the noun, they modified, come after the verb in the sentence, and form part of the predicate. The boy is the noun they modify, is the verb, handsome is the adjective. The boy is handsome. So if you want to divide the sentence into two, if you want to do sentence patterning, divide the sentence into two. The boy is the subject, it's handsome, predicate. So handsome is found in the predicative position. That is why it is called predicative adjective. But it is modifying the noun in the subject position. It comes after the noun, it comes after the verb, but it's modifying the noun in the subject position. Take note of that. Order of adjectives. This very one we do come in exam. There may be a time that several adjectives will be used in modifying the noun. We can use so many adjectives to modify the noun, as in the case of this sentence. Owen is a poor, innocent young man. Poor, innocent young man. In this sentence, there is another. This sentence also, if you look at it critically, the order will tell you that it's not correct. So there is another. When you use several adjectives, you follow the order. You don't just place them haphazardly. And the order says that general adjective, obedient, beautiful. The core adjective, the one we know originally as adjective, generally will come first. The one that will follow it is the one that donates temperature, hot, cold. The one that will follow it is the one that donates size and shape, tall, circular, etc. Next, age, new, old. Next, color, yellow, green. Next, participle. Remember, I said verb that I use as what? Adjective. They are participle. That is the one I follow. Broken pot, etc. Next, provenance. That is nouns that are telling us a place in which materials are made. And next is demonina, or adjective used as abstract nouns. Medical students. What it means is that once you want to use several adjectives, and maybe use general adjective, age, participle. For instance, the obedient old, broken pot. Let me put it that way. No matter how you want to use it, the general should come first, the age should follow, participle should follow. If you are using temperature, color, and provenance, age will come first, participle or color will follow, pronoun will follow. So it will be wrong for you to use temperature first before general, or use participle, adjective first before colors. Let us look at the examples given. John bought a costly, small, round, old, yellow, dining made Nigerian table. Now, if you look at it critically, costly is general adjective, small is size, shape is round is shape, old is age, yellow is color, dining made, dining made is participle. Yeah, participle. Now used as an adjective. Dining, participle. Made is still participle. verb used as adjective here, and provenance, Nigerians. So it is wrong for you to say John bought a Nigerian made dining yellow old round small costly table. The order is not right. There is an order and you need to follow the order. So what you need to know is study the order general first, followed by temperature, followed by size and shape, followed by age, followed by color, followed by participle, provenance, and domonina. Then it is not that all of them you will use them at the same time. No, like in the second sentence, the boy likes those beautiful, which is general, tall, which is size, young, which is age, black, which is color, and well organized girl, which is the mononia. So anyone that you choose, anyone you use, but the order should be, if you look at now, general first, size next, size come before age, and that is what is used there. That is why tall come before young, and the next one is color, black, color come after each, and dominant. That is just the order. You have to go and know the order, learn the order, and use it correctly. And this other one is degree or comparison of adjectives. Okay. So this degree or comparison of adjectives. Here we have absolute. Here we have comparative adjectives. Here we have superlative adjectives. What we mean by degree is that we have different way in which we analyze or give meaning to nouns, give meanings to nouns, in which we give additional meanings to nouns. That is what we mean by degree. When we are not comparing the noun, it's absolute. When we are comparing it in two, using two to compare the noun, it's comparative. When we are using more than two to compare it, is superlative. Now let us look at absolute adjective. It is used where there is no comparison of noun. Benjamin is tall, no comparison of noun. Comparative adjective, it is used to compare two nouns. Benjamin is taller than Obi. Look at it, taller. Because there is Benjamin, there is Obi. We are now comparing two nouns. So that is why we use comparative and superlative. Benjamin is taller than, is the tallest of them, is the tallest of all, more than two. So it is wrong for us to say Benjamin is the taller of them. We are comparing more than two, and you say Benjamin is the taller. Taller is only used for two nouns. It is also wrong to say Benjamin is the tall of them, because in that case, the word, the adjective tall is not used to compare. Note that there are two forms we use when we are comparing two or more people, things, situation, or group. The use of ERO and EST construction. This one we use here is the ERO. This other one is EXT construction. We can also use more and most. You should know when we use them. When we are comparing one syllable, look at it, according to Ogulogu, adjectives that have one syllable are usually compared by the use of ERO and ELE. So when you are comparing and the adjective you are using has one syllable, this is one syllable, tall, long, one syllable, produced with one chest spot. Remember when we, in our discussion in the sound system of English, we mentioned about syllable. So in this case, when we are dealing with one syllable, we use ERO and EST construction. But when we are dealing with two syllables, we use more and most. But there are some two syllables that we can use ERO and EST. When the syllable, two syllable end in Y, as in Mary, LE, and and the OW, as in narrow, LE as in little, as in little, Y as in Mary, and the OW as in narrow. We can still use ERO and or EST construction. So it is wrong for us to say more Mary, even though it's two syllable word. More Mary, most Mary. No, Mary, Maria, merriest. Narrow, narrow, narrowest. Little, little, littlest. So, but we cannot, when we are dealing with some two syllable words and more, we now use more construction. Handsome is two syllable word. Peaceful, two syllable word. Pitiful, three syllable words. Here we use more and most construction. Take note of that. We will not dwell more on adverb. You will do this on your own because the time is against me. But the only difference between adverb and adjectives, adverbs modifies, adjective modified, determiner modifies, determiner modifies noun, adjective modifies noun, but adverb modifies verb, modifies adjectives, or modified another adverbs, or modify the whole sentence. Take note of that. Modified verb, adjectives, other adverb, or the whole sentence. Unlike adjective that will only modify a noun, unlike determiner that will only modify a noun, adverb will modify another adverb of its own, modified verb, modified adjective, modify the whole sentence. But the main primary function of adverb is to modify verb. That is why it is called adverb, add to verb. Consider the following. You see, the man drives carelessly. Carelessly is modifying what? Drive, which is a verb. They cry loudly. Modify the verb cry. The student is exceptionally good. Exceptionally is an adverb modifying good. And good is what adjective. So it's modifying the adjective good. The man is terribly sick. Terribly is an adjective. Sick is an adjective. So terribly is modifying what? The adjective sick. Sick. And the girl behaves very loud locally. Locally is an adverb. Locally is an adverb derived from adjective. You know, ly adverb are derived from adjective. Local is adjective. Local is adjective. Locally is adverb. And another word is modifying locally, which is very. And that one that is modifying is adverb. Adverb modifying adverb. In an advanced level, we call it intensifier. It is giving more intensity to the adverb. The girl behaves very locally. So very is an adverb that modifies another adverb. The children are nearly there. There is an adverb. Nearly is an adverb, but nearly is modifying another adverb. Characteristics of adverb. This one is the last topic, so we are going to finish. Adverb that have the derivational morpheme, IL. Any adverb, any adjective that end in ILY. LY is adverb. We form majority of adverb from adjectives. For instance, terrible is adjective, but when you use add ly, it becomes terribly, which is adverb. Adverb are modifier of verb, as we have said it. Adverb can occur initially, medially, or finally. You know, there are some other words that cannot occur initially, medially, and finally. Adverb are mobile. You can see them initially, medially, finally. Initially, Initially, I was in the school. I was initially in the school. I was in the school initially. The same sentence, the same. Adverb moves, but other part of it hardly can move. When you move them to intermediate, you may have ungrammatical sentence, or final, you may have ungrammatical sentence. Once you misplace them, ungrammatical sentence can be formed. But adverb can be moved from either being in initial position to media or to final position. The group of words from other part of speech can still function as adverb. Yeah, like remember I told you, group of words from other part of speech can function as noun. We call them nominal. They can function as verb. We call them verbs. They can function as adjective. We call them adjectival. When they function as adverb, it is called adverbial. For instance, the book is on the table. The phrase on the table with pronoun or with a preposition, with determiner, with a noun is functioning as adverb. It's telling us the particular place in which the book is. So these three words, group of words, are functioning as an adverb. Adverb and adverbial manner here is classification of adverb according to function. Remember the one we did earlier is according to position. Classification of adverb according to position, where we have preverb, predicative, and what? And what? Okay, that one is adjectives. So we can still have a classification of adverb according to position, but here we are talking about according to function. Here is what are the function of it. We have adverb and adverbial of manner, adverb and adverbial of manner. This one answer the question how. The man speaks intelligibly. How does the man speaks? Adverb and adverbial of time is when. It's talking about time. The lecturer will soon come. What time will the lecturer come? Soon. I will go to class early. What time will you go? Early. Adverb and adverbial of place. This one talk about where. The book is under the table. Where? Under. The boy dropped the book near the table. Where? Near the table. This one is that of concession. This one is contracts. It's a kind of contract. One is, there are two phrases or two clauses used. One is the opposite of the other. And it is the adverb that will make it to be that opposite. Although he is rich, Martin does not help anybody. Does not help anybody is the opposite of is rich. And what makes it to be is the adverb although. So any adverb that shows context or position is adverb of concession. Patient played football, whereas Joy played handball. There is an opposite in it. And we have that of the adverb and adverb of decree. This one shows to what extent. He is very tall, the decree, to what extent. The girl is too short, to what extent. This one the frequency, how often. How often. The students never greet their teachers. Every time you see them, they never greet their teachers. How often? Never greet. Never there is an adverb of what? Frequency. Joy and Ola often come late to class. Every time they come to school late to class. So often here is adverb and adverb of frequency. Then classification of adverb according to conjugation, adverb of reason. This one is reason. He tried to override everybody because what is the reason? This one would, when you say something, what is the reason why you said it? He tried to override everybody because he has money. Because is adverb of reason. Joy was denied her right as she failed to do the required sacrifice. The reason why she was denied right was that she failed to do the required. So the word as is an adverb that show the reason why her right was denied. So here is that of position. Remember, we started by function. This one is adverb by position. In this case, we have what we call sentence adverb or adverbial. We have preverb, and we have manner, place, and time adverb. In terms of position, we have sentence adverb. This one is usually occurred. Actually, escape. I'm almost done. Oh. It's not working again. I'm almost done. Should we continue? In terms of position, we can classify adverb into sentence adverb or adverbial, preverb adverb or adverbial, and manner, place, and time adverb or adverbial. In terms of sentence adverb, these are adverbs that modify the entire sentence, the whole sentence. For instance, truly, the lecturer is to be blamed. It modified the entire sentence, the lecturer is to be blamed. But in terms of preverb, here are adverbs that are placed immediately before the verb, they modify. They are placed immediately before the verb, they modify. For example, the even bought yam, even is a preverb adverb that modified the verb bought. Olu often get annoyed. Often is placed before get and it modified get, which is a verb. So it's a preverb. Any adverb that is placed before the verb and modifies such verb, it is a preverb adverb. And manner, place, and time adverb or adverbial. These are adverb or adverbial that are placed at the end of sentences. Remember that sentence adverb modify the whole sentences, but this one is placed at the end of the sentence and also modify the entire sentence. The man speaks intelligibly, or sometimes modify the verbs. It tells us how the man speaks. The man sleep in the class where the man sleep. The man eat rice every morning. But there is also another of this manner, place, and time. We can use manner, place, and time adverb in one sentence. And if we observe that, which one will come first? It is possible that adverb and adverbial of manner, place, and time can easily co-occur in the same sentence. When they are combined and used together in the same sentence, the manner adverb or adverbial comes first. So manner will come first, followed by place. Place would follow, and time will come last. So in this sentence, the man spoke intelligibly, that is manner, in the class, that is place, last week, that is time. So it would be wrong for us to say the man spoke in the class last week intelligibly. No, it's wrong. Or we say the man spoke intelligibly last week in the class. It's still very wrong. The order must be followed. You can see the second one. The man spoke intelligibly, that's place last week. So whichever one you use, whichever adverb you use to modify the verb, coming after it, you must use a correct order. It will be wrong to say the man spoke last week in the class, even though we understand that those who do not know the rule will use it. The essence of communication in English is for you to know the right techniques to be used in constructions. This one is degree of comparison. It's just the same thing as that of adjectives. If you know that of adjectives, you can know that of adverb. And I think at the end of the day, we would end the class. By next week, we shall discuss the minor part of speech. From there, we begin to talk about the pronoun, the preposition, and others. Today, we are able to dwell on um, the definition of part of speech, what part of speech is all about, why do we call them part of speech, and we have also discussed the major part of speech, even though we have differentiated the difference between major and minor part of speech. We have gone as far as discussing the major part of speech today. By next week, Monday, we shall discuss the minor part of speech. And I will be very happy that you read everything you know about the minor part of speech so that you can follow the class. Remember, the minor part of speech are pronoun, preposition, conjunction, determinants. So we are going to discuss very briefly about them. Thank you for listening.